members and mural committee members. And because it is so cold, I promise you this is going to be a brief program. So I see our chair, Councilwoman Alicia Porterfield, and if you all could just raise your hands so people can know where you're standing. Thank you so much. Councilwoman Conte Toombs, Councilwoman Jennifer Gamble, Councilwoman Sandra Sepulveda, and Councilwoman Zolfat Swan. Thank you all so very much for coming out and letting this be one of our caucus wins for 2021. Our mural committee members, I have a few here. David Ewing, if you'll put your hand in the air. Alfred Brown is also here. Major Ethan Brazell is here. Throw a hand up. I know you're trying to be shy. Thank you so very, very much for being here this morning. Without you, all of you, this would not have been possible. The other mural committee members that are not here are Paula Roberts, Chrissy Cassidy. Oh, I'm so sorry. Phyllis Bowles is here, and I can't see her hand. Chris is here. And there's Phyllis. Okay, good. Glad that you're all here. And Jens Fredrickson is also here. There he is. He's way in the back. So, without them, this would not have been possible at all. Today, as you can see, there is a portion of the mural that's showing. You all have seen the weather, you've experienced it. We had a bit of rain and frost and cold, and so the mural will continue to be affixed to the wall, and it should be finished by the end of the weekend. So certainly come back if you're downtown, take a ride, see how it's progressing. The reason why we're doing this mural is a continuation of the celebration of Representative John Lewis and to pay homage to his civil rights history here in Nashville. From his time at American Baptist College to Fisk University, his foundation for fighting for social justice and for those individuals who had been overlooked by society was laid. This past summer, we honored him by renaming Fifth Avenue to Representative John Lewis Way. So it is only fitting that the mural is here, on his street, and 1 block from Woolworths, where he trained for and participated in Nashville's lunch counter sit-ins. We hope that this mural will serve as an opportunity for Nashvillians and visitors to learn about Nashville's role in the civil rights movement and how Representative Lewis was a pivotal part. This mural will be the first piece of Black art in the downtown corridor. That is something to applaud. This is a wonderful step. And this work was completed by 2 Black local artists. Lead artist Michael McBride. And Michael, throw a hand up. There you are. Okay. And Donna Woodley. And forgive me, 2 assistants, Rebecca and Mickey. And I need their hands to go up so people can see that they're here as well. The mural would not have been possible without their participation. So thank you so very much. As we celebrate this morning, we have our own Mayor John Cooper here with us today, and he is going to give us some words to celebrate the moment. And Councilwoman Zwara has the microphone for you, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Joey. I'll just use my voice. Old-fashioned. Thank you, Joy. I want to thank all the council people who are here for their being great partners in creating a city that serves everybody as Nashville grows. And very quickly, I'm enjoying my ability to say the next sentence. I am grateful to Dr. King for understanding that John Lewis needed to come to President Harris's University here in Nashville, Tennessee. And that is the start of a great moment in American life and in our city's history. And I'm grateful to our president here and for our relationship with John Lewis and his family to have an American Sing, to use the current kind of, I guess, John Meacham's title for John Lewis, to have us house and educate and train an American Saint in our city is something that Nashville will be eternally proud of, inspired by, and let us use that inspiration to create a great city going forward. But again, how is it that I can even say that sentence? I'm grateful to Dr. King to find the right college for the young John Lewis to come to Nashville. It's just a great thing for Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you, and thank you, Councilman Scott.
At this time, we're going to have Metro Minority Caucus Chair Delicia Porterfield, and I'm going to go ahead and just give you my microphone.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Stiles. Thank y'all for being out here today. We know that the weather is a little bit chilly, so we will be brief. I want to acknowledge my colleague, Councilman Freddie O'Connell. We're down here in the downtown district, so thank you for joining us. And I think we could give him a little bit better round of applause today. Freddie has been a great partner with us, so thank you for being here. This is very important to the Minority Caucus. Our mayor talked about creating a Nashville for everyone, and that is something that we have to be intentional about. We have to be intentional about creating spaces because it doesn't just happen naturally. When we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, these are very intentional acts that we have to move forward with. And one goal is of the Minority Caucus is to make sure that we have a space for minorities in the Nashville community, that everyone has a home here. And Representative Lewis was so impactful. We had the opportunity to spend some time with his family yesterday, which is now our extended family, but we had the opportunity to just share how impactful the representative's life has been, not only to us individually here in Nashville, and across the country and across the world. And it takes leaders like Representative Lewis to just go against the grain to make sure that we continue to fight. So unfortunately, in 2021, we're still fighting some of those same fights that were fought during that time. But the beautiful thing is that the torch and the mantle has been passed on to us, and we are running forward with it, and the caucus is ready to continue to do the work. Thank you, Councilwoman Stiles, for your work on this, and thank you for Councilwoman Sorora for your work on the overall committee this year as well. So I'll be passing the microphone back to Councilwoman Stiles, but again, thank you all so much for joining us.
Going to have Dr. Forrest Harris, President of American Baptist College. And of course, as we know, the first institution that Representative Lewis attended here in Nashville.
Thank you so much. It's good to stand in this chilly atmosphere, but the warmth of what we're doing today makes the difference in how we together celebrate and honor the legacy and be a good steward of the legacy of Congressman John Lewis. You get here by coming through and on the John Lewis Way, and you pass the intersection of the John Lewis Way and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. That intersection is not just Nashville, it's just not regional. That intersection of Martin Luther King Jr. and the John Lewis Way is a global intersection for love and justice, for social transformation, and for the beloved community. You can give that a hand. And it is also the beloved community, the Nashville for everybody, the human flourishing that God would have everybody have in terms of equity, justice. But it's also the vision that brought John Lewis to American Baptist College, and what Martin Luther King Jr. himself and James Lawson also saw as a way for young people to come and experience who they might become. And I am so proud to be at American Baptist College as its chief steward, because that vision still stands strong at American Baptist College. So send us your sons and your daughters, send us your social justice seekers, for at that place we are still training people to be advocates for social justice, equity, advocacy, and leadership. Let's give applause for this great mural that will be an image for Nashville at the intersection of love and justice. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. We have been fortunate not only in July, but also today to have members of Representative Lewis's family. If you could raise your hands in the front so we can see you, so everybody know they came from Troy to participate with us today. And we're going to hear from his nephew right now, Jared Lewis. It's another round of applause.
First of all, good morning to all. It's a beautiful day. What better way than to come together in this moment to celebrate my uncle, Congressman John Lewis. Me and Troy have been talking for a while, and I've been talking with Phyllis and the city of Nashville, and they all are wonderful and been so enjoyable to work with. So I first would like to thank them for making this day possible. As I look out into the crowd to see three of my great friends, Kelvin, Joe, and Chuck, it really makes me happy for you guys to share this moment with me personally. Thanks to the city of Troy for also attending, for them to travel, and support my uncle who means the world to us. So thank you. As George stated, I am Jared Lewis, the nephew of the late Congressman John Lewis. On behalf of the entire Lewis family, we are honored to be invited to today's unveiling, and would like to personally thank the city of Nashville for recognizing the Congressman's time spent here. We believe this mural highlights pivotal moments in John Lewis's journey through the civil rights movement. His time spent as a student at Fisk University and American Baptist, where he joined the Nashville student movement, joining the Freedom Riders in an effort to challenge the nation's segregation laws, and of course, organizing lunch counter sit-ins at places such as the Woolworth on 5th, which successfully led to desegregated downtown lunch counters, and more recently, a name change for the street itself. I once asked myself, how can a man from a rural town in Alabama end up miles away in the city of Nashville, Tennessee? As I educated myself on my uncle's life and the work he did, I have learned that he was simply out to get into good trouble. He knew that trouble he was involved in was necessary for all people to be treated fairly. Back in June, I had the opportunity to visit Nashville, walk on 5th Avenue, now John Lewis Way, and tour Woolworth. The experience of being in the building was surreal. I could clearly envision the experience of those who chose to get into good trouble. So that I am a man of color can walk into a public venue being discriminated against. If you were close to my uncle or ever visited his home, you knew that he had a love for art. He would be humble and overjoyed that his story is being told in such a creative way, in which we carry on the story of those who joined his side and advocated for civil rights of all. Again, thank you for making this day possible. Thank you all for coming here. As you can see, John Lewis' persona was so magnetic. As you can look and see people around from different walks of life. So once again, thank you, and the Lewis family, we love you.
So behind me, you'll see our temporary sign. There's a permanent sign that is being made, but it tells the story of Representative Lewis's history here in town. And so to read it for us now, we have David Ewing, and followed by David, we will have Michael McBride, who is our lead artist, and he's also going to be bringing the full rendering of the mural that you will be seeing.
Thank you, Council Lady Stiles. And thank you to the Lewis family from Alabama for being here. John Lewis is definitely here with us in spirit today. If he were here in presence today, he would look on this great mural and say, this is kind of a metaphor of what's going on today. As Councilman Porterfield said, our work is not done. This mural is not complete yet, and neither is our work, but it will be one day with everyone's help. And so I would like to thank everybody for being here. Nashville has many iconic murals in the last 5 or 10 years, and this is going to join that for residents, tourists, and people to learn more about Representative Lewis's life. So this is the text. This is a quote from John Lewis himself. Nashville prepared me. If it hadn't been for Nashville, I would not be the person I am now. Representative Lewis was born in Troy, Alabama in 1940 and had a storied history in Nashville, Tennessee. While attending college here, Lewis began his lifelong fight for social justice. Representative Lewis obtained his divinity degree from American Baptist College and then attended Fisk University, where he obtained his bachelor's degree in religion and philosophy. It was while a student at Fisk that he learned about the organization and protesting to fight for civil rights and call for the end of segregation. Fisk University is also where he became a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, and I see some Sigmas in the house today. John Lewis came to Nashville for an education, but he gave the city of Nashville an education. It was under the tutelage of Reverend James Lawson and Reverend Kelly Miller Smith Sr. of First Baptist Church, Capitol Hill, John Lewis learned about the philosophy and practice of nonviolence. John used his teachings on February 27, 1960 at Woolworths, where he, Diane Nash, led hundreds of college students who participated in the lunch counter sit-ins that took place here in Nashville, just 2 blocks from here. While Nashville did not have the first lunch counter sit-ins, they were the most well-organized, well-attended, and most successful that brought national attention to the movement. So, yes, absolutely. Give it up for all the students that were here and changed history. 18, 19, 20-year-old people. The Woolworth building where John Lewis was arrested for the first time for his good trouble is, as we said, right down the street on John Lewis Way. It never gets old to say John Lewis Way. Thank you. In 1961, John Lewis was one of the original Freedom Riders, a group of students that rode from Washington, D.C. to Birmingham, Alabama on Trailways and Greyhound buses after these companies refused to integrate their buses. The Freedom Riders featured in the mural that you'll see in the future are C.T. Vivian, Rip Patton, Diane Nash, Reverend Kelly Miller Smith Sr., Reverend James Lawson, and Kwame Lillard. These heroic riders risked their lives to force the bus companies in southern states to enforce the Supreme Court's order to end segregation on buses across the nation. In 1963, John Lewis became the chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Lewis helped organize the March on Washington and address 250,000 people gathered on the mall that day where Dr. King delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech. Nashville gave John Lewis his start in social protest, nonviolent movement, and political organizing. A journey that began here culminated in Lewis being elected to the United States Congress in Georgia and served there from 1987 till his death in 2020. On every step of his journey, including down this street, which bears his name, John Lewis exemplified being good trouble and fighting for those who had no voice, no matter the obstacle. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, David. And I'm looking for Michael. Okay, he's coming around the mountain. Bringing the rendering.
I think you all are going to be very pleased. As you can see from the portion that is showing, it is so vibrant. It is going to capture so much of our history in a valuable way. I'm going to give this to you so you may speak.
Good morning. I got my notes here. legendary civil rights leader John Lewis died last year, but his legacy of getting into good trouble to oppose systemic racism is still very much alive and will continue on for years to come. My name is Michael McBride, and I was delighted and honored to be asked to create the mural with my Phi Beta Sigma fraternity brother and U.S. Representative John Lewis of Georgia, with fellow national artist Donald Woodley. Raise your hand. Rebecca Beverly, step to the floor, raise your hand. And Mickey Yearwood, raise your hand. This is my crew. And we spent a lot of long hours, 7 days a week, a lot of times 7 and 8 hours a day, and trying to bring this mural painted to fruition. The making of this mural was inspiring and challenging, if I have to say, and rewarding. I know how much this mural means to me, my fellow artist Bob, the city, and the community. Rebecca and Mickey, where y'all standing in the background? You all need to come up here with me. You all need to be up here with me. Woo! Can everybody hear me now? Okay. I'm used to lecturing at school, so I don't have a mic and I talk too loud a lot of the time. So, to tell you a little bit about this mural, this process that we had that I use is called the parachute method. It started in California, but in 1989 in Philadelphia, the mural project in Philadelphia took on this, and most of the murals, if you ever try to Philadelphia, it's done in this way. So this way, basically, the mural is painted and then it is actually installed. And for safety reasons, it's great because you don't have to be up on a lift for hours on hours. So can you imagine a mural this big and how long I would have to be up on a lift? Okay? So this mural was painted in about 2 months. So I couldn't be up on a lift for 2 months, that many hours. So that's basically the way the method is. And I'm deeply grateful and appreciative to have this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We all know the good trouble quote, but I want to leave you with another one by John Lewis, which I think is very important. Nothing can stop the power of committed and determined people to make a difference in our society. Why? Because human beings are the most dynamic link to the divine on this planet. Thank you. You have to follow the grid because it's like a culture. We operate off the grid and do that. But here on the mural, you'll see C.T. Vivian, Rip Patton, Diane Nash, Reverend Kelligan Smith Sr., Reverend James Lawson, and Kwame Little.
So we have something very excited to look forward to over the next few days. And of course, just when we get accustomed to wearing these coats, it's going to be 75 next week, which makes no sense. So at this time, I would like to thank our sponsors, but before I do that, I'd like to give a special thank you to Councilmember O'Connell. Where is he? Hand aloft, please, sir. Thank you very much for participating and allowing us to celebrate parts of your district. You have the heartbeat of the city, and we are grateful. And thank you for coming and supporting. Okay, so I'm going to inhale and read all of these sponsors. Okay. Metro Minority Caucus, Jerry L. Maynard, Gabe Coltea and LNC Garage, they donated this building to us to allow us to do the mural. Mayor John Cooper's office, Lehman Family Fund, Ingram Charities, HCA TriStar Health, Alliance Bernstein, First Baptist Church, Capitol Hill, Fisk University, American Baptist College, Tennessee State University, Vanderbilt University, Belmont University, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I might have a little bit of bias there. Ski-wee. Amazon, the Interdenominational Ministers Fellowship, Kroger Community Foundation, Kristen C. Wilson, Michael and Pamela Carter Foundation, the National Museum of African American Music, Nashville General Hospital, Joseph Webb, Meharry Medical College, Google Fiber, Nashville Visitors and Convention Bureau, Chen, Omarion and Heather Lee, Kate Reed, Lee Mollett, Brandon Knox, Woolworths, Studio Bank, Sony Music Nashville, Tony Giartana, the Music City Center, the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, EFI, who donated this lift to do the mural, and Herb Williams. And on that note, I'm cold, you're cold, and we're wrapping it up. And there's a reception at the African American Music Museum right down the block if you are now cold and hungry. Have a great day, everyone. Oh, and if I can get my elected officials, you know it's photo time. And Lewis family, I need you to stay in place. Mural committee members, please come up front. Council members, thank you, thank you. Yeah, you'll come over here. Yes, Mayor Cooper, please.
My brother.